Amid the pandemic and domestic unrest gripping America, a New York Times columnist says there is hope and seems to be suggesting that will come in the form of kicking President Trump out of the White House. Quote, "Yes, our nation is a mess, but overlapping catastrophes have also created conditions that may finally let us extricate ourselves from the mire." Well, how does that sit with GOP Senator John Kennedy? He joins us now, so I will ask him. Welcome, Senator. Good to have you.
Good to have you, Shannon. I read the opinion piece. It's supposedly about hope. I mean, who can be against hope? It's like hating golden retrievers. But then you read the article, and it's not about hope. Here's what the article says. My words, not the author's. America is a depraved country. Most Americans, he says, in my opinion, particularly white Americans, are racist and misogynistic and ignorant. They're morons. And then the author goes on to say, my words, not his, that the American people are so moronic that they can't fix their country. And so the answer is to turn America over to the managerial elites. And by that I mean the cultured, cosmopolitan, bacon-wrapped shrimp and tuna tartare crowd who think they're smarter and more virtuous than the American people. And the author seems to think that that managerial elite is comprised of what I call the Ritz-Carlton Democrats, though I will tell you I know some big government Republicans who act the same way. In my opinion, if you believe this article, you were probably that kid in grade school who always ate the paste.
Well, I mean, he does put this in the context of, hey, listen, we're awake now when it comes to racial disparities and inequality and things that need to be fixed. And maybe all of this unrest is a good thing leading us toward fixing those. And he doesn't necessarily say that former Vice President Joe Biden is the answer to all of those things, but seems to be drawing a map that we could infer is sending us in that direction. Now, I want to ask you about this. You mentioned big government Republicans, too, because you guys are now talking about potentially another round of coronavirus relief. Here is what House Speaker Nancy Pelosi had to say about some Republicans now being worried about the price tag. Here's what she says.
When they're giving away all this big money and they worry about $600 for families who need it so desperately, it just makes you wonder, who are they here for?
Well, an opinion piece in The Hill puts it this way. Democrats know their odds of taking the White House and the Senate hinge on the state of the economy. If this downturn is the new normal, an extension of unemployment benefits is a stepping stone on the pathway toward universal basic income. So another package probably coming. There is talk on both sides of the aisle about how to get this done, what the price tag is going to be. But what do you make of the fact that Republicans are going to be painted as being very stingy at a time when people across the country need your help?
Well, that's the way many members of the mainstream media always paint us. So why should this time be any different? We are going to start working on another coronavirus bill. I don't know whether it'll pass. I don't know what will be in it. The only thing I'm certain of at this juncture is that it will not be Speaker Pelosi's bill. She introduced what she calls the HEROES Act. I've read it. It reads more like the Communist Manifesto, and I think it'll probably be dead on arrival in the Senate.
All right. Well, part of what the discussion is about, the Senate piece and the House piece, is funding for schools as they try to work towards getting reopened. And as that conversation continues, I keep saying on the show, all my parent friends are like, get the kids back in school. I think we can probably do this safely. They're looking at what the CDC is saying, what Dr. Fauci is saying. It's not going to work everywhere, but some places it could. But we have this polling from Quinnipiac. Do you think it will be safe or unsafe to send students back to elementary, middle, and high school in the fall? 31% say, yeah, it could be safe. 62% believe it would be unsafe. So the president is making this argument, but according to that poll, a lot of Americans are not comfortable with this conversation of sending kids back. What do you make of it?
Here's what I think about the reopening of the schools. First, parents and kids especially, come first. And parents are responsible for their children. They should be. They are. If you're a parent and you don't want to send your child back to school, don't. As a corollary, I would say if you are a teacher and you don't want to go back to school, don't. That's between you and your school board. Number three, when you weigh the costs and the benefits, in my opinion, keeping these kids out of school will harm them much more than the coronavirus ever can. For many of our children, schools are the only stable institution in their lives. I don't know why this is. I think it's a blessing, though, that children do not seem to be as susceptible to the coronavirus, and when they get it, that they don't get as sick. I think we've had 15 children under the age of 15, or 30 children rather, under the age of 15 who have died. That's 30 too many, but clearly our children are among the safest of our population.
Well, this same polling shows that when it comes to the president handling COVID and this idea of reopening schools, just about the same numbers show about, 30-60, that they don't think the president is doing a good job with this. He's running into all kinds of polling numbers that show he hasn't, by estimation in these polls, hasn't handled COVID well. That's the inverse of what we saw when he was doing the daily briefings and people actually had confidence in what he was doing. Listen, we're back in another round of spikes. The death toll is starting to come up again. What do you make of the way the administration's handled things thus far?
Well, the American people are scared. It's not exactly a news flash that America is going through a rough patch here. Government shut down our economy, so there's a lot of economic insecurity. We're going to have thousands of businesses go broke as a result of the shutdown orders by the governors. People are scared about their health. They're scared of this coronavirus, and they should be. We have to respect it. And on top of this, you have a lot of people who are running around America saying all Americans, especially white Americans, are racist, and we have to tear down every statute that ever existed, including statutes of George Washington and Abraham Lincoln and Ulysses Grant and Frederick Douglass. And it's a very unsettled time in America, and the captain of the ship always gets blamed. The captain of the ship, fairly or unfairly, is held responsible. We'll get through this. Some of my colleagues think we'll get through it because of government. They think government made America great. I don't believe that. I think America was made great by ordinary people doing extraordinary things, and it's ordinary people doing extraordinary things, middle-class Americans, who will get us through this. But we can't stop now. I mean, I don't know who said it, but a smart person once said, when you're going through hell, keep going. And that's what we've got to do. We're going through hell, and we got to just keep going.
Yeah, America has done that before at times when people thought we were fractured beyond repair. So, yeah, we have been. And I mean, listen, I say a prayer for you, for all of our leaders, for our president, everyone on both sides of the aisle, to find ways to get us there. But you're right, the American people will be the ones to get us there. Senator, thank you for coming on.
No question. No question. Thank you, Shannon.